Welcome back, everybody, to the NBA Exchange. I'm your host, Dexter Henry. I hope everybody had a relaxing and fantastic 4th of July weekend. I know I did. Got to get ready for the NBA Finals. Yes, we are here already. The NBA Finals is here. It has already begun. It is Suns versus Bucks. You know, the matchup everybody picked back when the season started. But here we are. We're going to talk about Game 1 on this show. We're also going to talk about betting on Game 2. It's Wednesday, so that means NBA with nuance. All that coming up in this episode of the NBA Exchange. Now, as I said, Game 1 was last night between the Suns and the Bucks. Suns, the home team. They have the home court advantage in this series. And the Suns, man, they look like a well-oiled machine that is making my producer, Greg, smile, because he said they could win the championship, and they sure look like a championship team right now. 118-105 victory over the Bucks. They were led by who else? The point guard doing his thing. We saw what he did in Game 6 against the Clippers, would not let his team lose, and that was sort of the same thing here in Game 1. Chris Paul killing it in terms of the mid-range, 32 points, 9 assists in this contest. And right now, if you ask Chris Paul how he's feeling, he's focused, man.
I'm just so locked into the game. I ain't really paying attention to much, just trying to stay in the moment. It got crazy loud during one of those timeouts, but it's exciting. And, that's one win, and I think I'm just focused on the task at hand.
While the Suns looked great and came away with the victory, the Bucks, they are going to have to try to bounce back in Game 2. And before the game, they got a bit of a boost. They found out that Giannis Antetokounmpo would play. And Giannis didn't look too bad in this contest at all whatsoever. He didn't look like his usual explosive self that we have seen throughout the years. Now, remember, he hyperextended that knee against the Atlanta Hawks in their contest. But Giannis finished with 20 points and 17 boards in this contest. They're going to need more out of him. They're going to need more out of their role players that didn't shoot the ball particularly well in this contest. So Game 2 is going to be very interesting. The Bucks are happy to have their star back, but they're going to have to bounce back and try to steal one on the road before it shifts to Milwaukee. Now, Game 2 is always interesting in every series because sometimes we can overreact to Game 1, and you're going to watch which teams are able to make which kinds of adjustments. Now, a lot of this is going to fall on head coach Mike Budenholzer of the Bucks and seeing what adjustments he can make in Game 2. In terms of a betting standpoint, it's really interesting in how you bet Game 2 sometimes. Do you think the team that lost Game 1 is going to come out with the right energy to bounce back in Game 2? That's going to be interesting. Now, the line for this Game 2 matchup between the Suns and the Bucks here in this NBA Finals is -5.5, open at 6, down to -5.5 right now, and the over-under is 220.5. This is a tough one for me in terms of betting this game in this Game 2. These teams are very good defensive teams, the top 2 defensive teams in the league, and that's shown through this playoffs. So these games are very low scoring. We saw the game the total was 223, 118-105 last night in Game 1. I would still stay away from that over-under. It's too close. I think too many things can happen at the end of the game. We've seen Devin Booker with his ability to get to the line. The Suns have a great ability to get to the line, and they also shoot free throws very well. So any kind of spread that is tight or any kind of over-under situation that's tight, I think can fluctuate really quickly one way or the other. So in terms of betting the Game 2 in particular, I would stay away from this one. However, there are some bets I would make throughout this NBA Finals. I've been looking at some prop bets that I think are very interesting that can be done here, and I think are pretty safe, good bets. And you also can get some great value on this. One that I really like is the top series point scorer, being Chris Paul. Odds for this are at +900. Pretty good odds, right? All you got to do, put down $100 to win 900. Why do I like this? We talked earlier and heard from Chris Paul about his focus. He's laser focused on this series right now. We've seen him do it in back-to-back games with the scoring 32 points in Game 1. He had the 40-piece in Game 6 against the Clippers. This guy looks like a man on a mission who's got here, knows what it's about, doesn't want to lose. Is he the best scorer in this series? No. I'd say that's Devin Booker. So if you want to put some money on him, the odds are definitely going to be lower there. But Chris Paul right now seems to not be willing to let his team lose, and I would not count him out as being the top series point scorer here in the NBA Finals. +900, you got to do it. Got to put a couple dollars down on that one. The other one for me is, hey, I like the Suns to win this series. I think they're going to win this in 6 or 7. So I like the Suns to win this series. But if you're looking to hedge your bet, maybe one of the bets you want to make is the Bucks to win Game 2. Now, this all depends on whether you think the Bucks can bounce back in Game 2. I think we'll see some adjustments from Mike Budenholzer. I think some of their role players that might have had some nerves on the road in Game 1 will bounce back here. We'll see how the Bucks do with their smaller lineups when they have Pat Connaughton and PJ Tucker on the floor. I think that'll be interesting. But if you're looking to hedge your bet with the Suns winning, and you also want to see if you can make some money on the Bucks in the short term, I think the Bucks here with plus 400, pretty good odds if you like them to win Game 2, but you still like the Suns to win the series. It's a nice way to maybe pick up some extra cash on the way and still get some money if you think the Suns are going to win the series. Now, my third bet, I think, for the finals that people should look at is, let's look at Devin Booker winning finals MVP. Odds on this right now, plus 350. The favorite in this category right now is Chris Paul. So the odds are not that great on him. But if you're looking for a player that can do it with some value, this also might hedge the first bet I mentioned, where if Chris Paul is the top series point scorer, he's probably going to win finals MVP. But if you want to sort of hedge that bet and you believe in the Suns winning like I do, maybe you throw some money on Booker here. Plus 350, good odds. I talked before about Booker's ability to get to the line, which is very impressive. He did not have a great game in Game 1 shooting the ball, 8 of 21 from the field, 1 of 8 from downtown, which would be a little concerning, although we've seen Booker bounce back in these playoffs. However, the thing I like is Booker has expanded his game and other ways to be able to score. As I said, getting from the line last night in Game 1, 10 of 10 from the charity stripe. This is something I like, something you see from elite scorers that can do this. And I could see Booker gaining his confidence as the finals goes on. So with a plus 350, I like that. These are some bets I think you should look at. To repeat, Chris Paul, plus 900, top series point scorer. Bucks to win Game 2, but the Suns still to win the series. That's get plus 400, 100 down. You can win 400. Booker to win finals MVP at plus 350. Take those. I think they're pretty good bets. We can get some pretty good value. We'll talk about some of the best bets you can get with value throughout these NBA finals here on the NBA Exchange. It's time for NBA with Nuance. That means my man Jarod Hector is here. That also means there are no hot takes on the show, just nuance discussion for your Wednesday pleasure. Jarod here to rock with me again on another Wednesday. Jarod, how are you doing? I know you were excited that the NBA finals are here. I know you're Team Bucks. So tell me all about it.
Chilling, man. Always good to be with you, Dex. Of course, y'all know what it is. Wednesdays, NBA with Nuance, no hot takes. The only thing hot in these streets are going to be my piping hot 6-irons, my drives, my fairway woods. Those are the only things going to be hot in these streets. I mean, let's be real. Those things ain't going to be that hot when I hit the range a little bit later. But, look, the Bucks, I don't know what it is about that team, Dex. And, we cover this. We're in the media, whatever. So we don't root for any team, right? Because who cares? It's about stories. But I don't know what it is about this Bucks team, man. I just can't rock with these dudes.
Yeah, we'll get to more of that. And yes, you absolutely look like you are ready for 18 holes on whatever course there may be. I'm surprised you didn't bring out the Tiger Red, bro. I thought you were gonna do that.
Nah. That's only for like Sundays, all right? That's for winning the tournament days. When this is a regular, it's a Wednesday. It's just
practice round. Practice round time. All right, I got you on that. Well, when we look at this NBA Finals, unbelievably, we are here. Finals have started. Game 1 underway last night. We'll get into what were your expectations in terms of the competition for this finals between the Suns, a team that's been playing pretty well, and this Bucks team that's been really hard to figure out. What were your expectations for these finals going in?
Well, listen, all jokes aside about the Bucks, what I expect from this final series is a good matchup. Look, these are two excellent teams. The Phoenix Suns were the number 2 team in the Western Conference, right? Like, they finished a game behind the Utah Jazz. So they were the number 2 team in the league, right? That's where they finished in terms of net rating and everything else. They were excellent all year. And the Bucks, look, while their regular season record, they finished 3rd in the East behind Philly and Brooklyn, they were top 10 all year in adjusted net rating, in offensive and defensive rating. And this team has been good for several regular seasons. They boast a 2-time MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. So, I expect a good series. And I think, after seeing Game 1, even though the Suns won by double digits, I think there are some things that show you that this will be a good series. And this is what I expect to see going forward, despite who may win.
Yeah, hoping we get a 6 or 7 gamer here. I think that's what everyone would like to see. But in this culture that we are in around the NBA, particularly of hot takes that we love on this show, a lot of the talk is always around rings culture, right? It's always about, well, it doesn't matter who has the ring, who doesn't have the ring. So I guess a question I would ask Jarod is, how impactful is reaching or winning the NBA Finals to a player's legacy?
You know, it's so interesting, Dexter, right? Like it should be something that enhances and really makes you be like, wow, this is a hell of a player. Except with rings culture, we don't do that, right? Instead, we use it as a negative or a knock, right? Case in point in this series, Chris Paul. This is his first NBA Finals in 16 years. He just competed in only his second Western Conference Finals. And, you know, the casual fan and people who like to think they're funny and know what they're talking about on basketball and social media, oh, he's not that good, he can't win the big one, blah, 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 whatever. And it fails to capture and realize how difficult it is to win in this league. The vast majority of players, Dexter, as you know, will never play in an NBA Finals. That's just a fact. They won't. And more, you know, also, the majority of players won't play in a conference finals in their NBA career. But people don't see it that way. And you may blame LeBron, Steph, Durant, all these guys who've been to multiple finals. You think it's easy. Those people are the anomaly, right? They're the exceptions, not the rule. It is very hard to make it into the conference finals, much less an NBA finals. So I think when you look at rings for someone like Chris Paul, you know, for me, it's not going to change my opinion of him. He's one of the greatest point guards of all time. One of the greatest small players of all time, right? And by small, I mean anybody 6'3" or under. He is, if you look at his stats, the win shares per 48. I mean, this is a top 10 guy when you look at those kinds of numbers. He is an incredible, incredible player. First ballot Hall of Famer, the whole 9 Olympic gold medalist, multiple All-NBAs, the accolades go on and on and on. But from just a pure competitive and pure player standpoint, Chris Paul, man, is excellent. And for him to, if he's able to win that, that's huge for him. And you look at someone like Giannis, right, who is a 2-time MVP and a DPOY. There are no 2-time MVPs and Defensive Player of the Years with a ring who aren't in the Hall of Fame, right? Who aren't among the greatest players of all time. And if Giannis can do that, that is, you know, before the age of 27. I mean, yikes, that's incredible. But this idea of rings and finals appearances and all that, it's like, guys, it is not as simple as you people all think it is, which is why we need to celebrate the all-time greats, right? The players like LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, Magic, Bird, all those dudes who went to a gazillion finals, that's because they're so good. Those are the elite of the elite.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's not a focus from a lot of fans and just even some people in the media around it, how hard it is, as you said, to actually win. Case in point is in these finals right here. Nobody playing in these finals has won a ring. And I believe only one person, I believe that is Jay Crowder, has actually played in a finals game. So that shows you, like you said, how hard it is, not even just to win a finals, but to make a finals. And making a finals, I think, should absolutely be celebrated. I think there's no doubt about it. It should absolutely be celebrated. It is no small feat to make a final. You know, people like Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, John Stockton, and Karl Malone sometimes get clowned. Those are all-time greats, and they didn't win a ring, but some of them made multiple finals, and hey, it's nothing to sneeze about. So, with that being said, Jarod, what do you think this moment of being here in the finals means for each of these franchises, the Suns and the Bucks? It matters because it's short. You know, everything in terms of the NBA and your success and trajectory, you don't know if you're going to get back. None of these players or organizations of the people who are working them know if they're going to get back. So I would assume this moment means a lot right now. That's
the big thing, Dex, and you hit the nail on the head. So, you know, everybody's like, oh, is there more pressure on the Bucks? No, there's pressure on both teams. Yo, we both here. We are in the finals. We are the only 2 teams left standing, which means we both have an equal shot of winning this thing. So, and they both want to win. And as you mentioned, there isn't a player on either side that has a ring. So they all want it. So it's, to me, I think that this moment is here for the taking, and it's available for everybody. And ultimately, every player dreams about this, right? You know, Khris has talked about this, year 16, the grind, the journey. Of course he wants to win it. I mean, and this arguably is his best chance. we do this thing where we always think about, don't worry, they'll be back next year. Yo, man, we don't know who's going to be back next year. You have no idea. Again, people take for granted LeBron making, what was that run he was on, 9 of 10 finals or whatever it was. Again, that is an anomaly, people. And the Warriors going to 5. Yo, those things don't happen all the time, right? Like, those are anomalies. And so you have a chance. You're in the finals. It's go time. Seize the day. Now is your time. So for everybody playing, man, you're going to feel that the stakes ratchet up even more.
Absolutely. Stakes are high for everyone trying to win this right now as they could. So when we look at these finals, we know game one is starting. There's a lot we can look at with game one. What were your thoughts before this series started? Who were you picking to win and hold the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the series? Will it be the Suns or will it be the Bucks?
I like the Suns in 6, and it was mainly because I just like the way the Suns play on both ends of the floor in terms of consistency. Look, I think the Bucks have a higher ceiling offensively. They may even have a higher ceiling defensively. But all playoff longs, what have we seen from the Bucks? Inconsistency. Not even from game to game, from quarter to quarter. They're doing something where they get out to a lead, and you're like, oh, if they just do this, they're going to be fine. And all of a sudden, they inexplicably do something else. It's like, well, what are you guys doing? They're a very confusing team, and that's when I started off the show saying why I can't get behind them. It's like, I just can't figure this team out. Like, who are you? What is your identity? We saw in that Atlanta series when Giannis went out, Dex, in a weird way, the offense flowed better in that closing game, right? They kind of figured some stuff out, and we're like, all right, here's how we do this. And, the Bucks just confuse me in terms of what they want to do on a regular basis. Whereas with Phoenix, I kind of know what I'm getting. I know what they're going to do on defense. And in any close game situation where possessions matter, and that's ultimately what many playoffs and finals games comes down to, I trust the person or the team that has the person who makes the least amount of mistakes, who makes less mistakes than Chris Paul, right? Like, I mean, that guy just knows he's going to get you into a good set and you're going to get a good shot. Make or miss, that's a whole other separate issue. They're not going to turn the ball over, right? Like that. I mean, how many times have we seen Chris Paul's stat lines? 10 assists. Plays 40-something minutes. No turn. That's insane. For someone who handles the ball as much without turning the ball over, that's a big, big deal when possessions matter. And I just like what I see out of them. And, I've said this numerous times. They have all the pieces that work, right? You've got the guard play from Chris Paul. You got your wing guy who can create shots in Devin Booker. You've got your 3-and-D guy, Mikal Bridges. You got your burly, rough, sort of like defensive guy who can also step out and shoot threes in Jay Crowder. And you have a rim-running, super freak athletic defensive big man in DeAndre Ayton. Oh, those 5 pieces I said right there are the components that typically win NBA titles, right? That's what you need. That's what I love about this team. And their identity is set. They know exactly who they are and what they're doing. And kudos to Monty Williams, James Jones, the executive there, and that whole squad, man. They're excellent.
Yeah, the pieces seem to fit. I'm with you on this. I like the Suns in 6. I mean, could I see this going 7? Yeah, sure. I could see it. I think that the fact that Giannis has come back and has looked, as I said in the top of the show, has actually looked okay. Did not look like his exact self, but looked enough that he was trusting the knee, and we'll see how he responds in game 2. But I'm with you, Jarod. I think the Suns, well-oiled machine, all the parts are working, and you're right. I trust the point guard. I definitely trust the point guard.
That point you made about Giannis is interesting, right? So he came back for game 1, and if you look at at the stat line, you think, oh, he looked fine. But I kind of watched him closely, Dexter. And for me, yeah, he got some bully balls down on the post and grabbed 17 boards. And now, obviously, missing as much time as he did. His conditioning is not quite where it will be, and your conditioning will get back. But what I was looking at, Dexter, though, he wasn't flying all over the place. Yes, he had that one chase down block, but not his normal, typical type of behavior. And we saw the way in which that knee hyperextended, right? It went the other way, right? Like the way your knee's not supposed to go. No matter what the treatment is and how he's doing, that is still a body part that is injured, right? It ain't going to get better playing NBA basketball, right?
Right.
It's not like, oh, he was 80% in game 1. He'll be 90% in game 2. No, that's not how that works. Like,
right.
As it goes on, at best case scenario, he maintains. More likely than not, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, I think so. I saw the same things that you were seeing, Jarod. And one of the things I saw was when he would get the ball and you know that he would really push it, where he could maybe force a 3-on-2 opportunity or go in the center floor. He wasn't doing it. He actually was slowing down and pulling back out. And that's where I said, he's not quite there yet. He looked mobile enough to play. And the conditioning, I think you're right, will come back, but he's not quite there yet. But that's something to definitely keep an eye on throughout the series, and especially how his body can bounce back and the Bucks can potentially bounce back in game 2 will absolutely be interesting. But we got to let Jarod hurry up and get to the links. He's got to go hit some golf balls, get his Tiger on, and stay cool so he can prepare for some, hot takes later, I guess.
Oh, listen, man, I told you, everything's going to be piping hot. It's that 6-iron I'm going to be hitting down the middle of that fairway. It's going to be straight. Yeah, right. It's going to be crooked and going all over the place. It's going to be a nightmare. But, it's what it is. It's all in good fun, man.
All right, Tiger Woods, y'all. That's Jarod Hector. Thanks, man, for joining me as usual on NBA with Nuance on the NBA Exchange.
Appreciate it.